we started getting approached by VCs who'd invested in businesses, saying that, well, they're a bit moribund, we think they could do better. Could you take them on and kind of breathe some fresh life into them?
Cloud TV is here speaking to Julian Ellison. He's the sales director of the Lucey Fund. Welcome, Julian. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. So start off, tell us about the Lucey Fund. What do you do?
What do? We help startups bring their new products and services to market very quickly by addressing one of the problems that startups have, which is not only do they have very limited resources, cash resources, but they probably have got limited resources in terms of technology skills, perhaps contacts, perhaps business experience. It depends on the profiles of the promoters. And what we do is we invest in those businesses by providing them with the professional services that they need to get the product to market and to build their business channels more quickly than if they were doing it by themselves. Even if they just had loads of cash, because we've worked now with about 70 businesses, we've got a lot of experience on building products very quickly, enabling them to get to minimal viable products that can be sold into the marketplace, and put them in a position where they can then go and raise the private capital that they need to scale their business. And we do that by really accelerating the whole process.
Now, the Lucey Fund was named as one of the Deloitte Fast 50 Rising Star companies, and you were the fastest growing young tech company in the entirety of the Republic of Ireland. So what key targets or achievements do you think that the Lucey Fund absolutely hit to walk away with such an accolade?
Well, I think because we stumbled on, almost by accident, this dilemma that startups have, which is to get the skills and resources that they need quickly deployed into their businesses, embedded into their businesses. Because of that, we found ourselves working very quickly with a really significant number of startups. There's a good startup scene in Ireland. We've now expanded beyond Ireland into the UK and also into the United States. But so that was on the one hand. We just started working with a lot of startups, building a lot of stuff, with a tech team that's now about 40 people. But the other thing that we started doing was we started getting approached by VCs who'd invested in businesses, saying that, well, they're a bit moribund, we think they could do better. Could you take them on and kind of breathe some fresh life into them? Maybe into their technology, but more usually into their sales channels, the positioning of their products and so forth. And so we've done this really very successfully, notably with a company called Pixalert, which is a sort of corporate data security product, and we've taken the revenue from 400,000 up to just over $1 million in the space of 18 months or so. So it's this combination of helping very young companies or companies that are stalling that really kind of set us apart. And as I say, it was kind of an accident, but that's how it happened. Yeah.
Well, Julian, there's a twist on angel investment when it comes to your company, Lucey Fund, isn't there? Because it's part cash and it's part development. So yes. Could you expand a little bit more on that?
Sure. Initially, we started fully funding product development on behalf of our clients, but we discovered that there were two problems with that. First of all, we might be halfway through the development and the promoters might come back and say, well, actually, we've decided to do something else now, or I've gone and got a job, or whatever. So that was a bit of a problem. So we needed to think of a mechanism to get around that. And then the other thing was that if you fully fund product development on behalf of a client, they tend to want the product set to be enormous. And we've got a lot of experience about minimal viable products that we can more reasonably bring to market in a shorter amount of time. So the debate about what the feature set should be and the benefit set should be can get a bit challenging if there is no skin in the game on behalf of the promoter. So what we've ended up doing is, what we say is, let's say there's a product development budget of €75,000. We require the promoter to put in 25,000, so 1/3, half at the beginning and half at the end, and we do the rest of the product development in return for shares. And that way, when we're having the intensive month at the beginning of the process, when we're deciding what it is that the thing needs to be, the technical specification process, if they're saying it's got to be this big and we're saying it's got to be this big, then actually our interests are aligned, because the bigger it is, then they've got to spend a little bit more money. So we found it's a much better way of getting through to the minimal viable product specification as quickly as possible. So a bit of cash, and then the rest of the development funded through our contribution in shares. And then what we do, because that's just the first stage, is that we really help the businesses package and prepare themselves for angel investment. We've got good links in the city as and when companies need to scale and they need to get VC investment. But the other thing that we're finding increasingly is that the promoters might need some help with their marketing and market positioning, or they might need a social media campaign. So we're doing a lot more of other types of service, basically allowing the promoter to focus on the business and not having to manage a big team, calling in specialist skills when they need to. And that's all done through this mix of shares and cash.
Fantastic, Julian, thank you for that answer, a very comprehensive answer. Just very lastly, for all those people that couldn't make it to the Cloud Expo this year and are thinking of coming, to future events such as the Cloud Expo next year, what would you say to those people?
Well, our perspective is very much on the startup side of things, and we've had dealings with Azure, Amazon, IBM, SoftLayer over there, the major platforms. All of these big boys and girls have extremely good packages for startups. So if you are in a position where you're developing a product, you're resource constrained, it really pays to start becoming friends with these companies, because you can find that for the first year of your operation, or even first 18 months, you can get $1,000 or $1,500 a month in support in terms of server provisioning, bandwidth, and all that kind of stuff. And that's a really, really, really helpful contribution. So I would say if you're in that startup space, this is a great place to come and meet people, get on the radar, and get involved in their support programs.
There you have it then. So the Cloud Expo is a great platform for scaling up new businesses fairly quickly.
There we go. Yeah, this is where you'll meet people. Yeah, to do that.
Julian, thank you very much. Julian Ellison, he is the sales director of the Lucey Fund, speaking to us here at Cloud Moves TV. Thank you.